The history of corruption in Nigeria appears to be as old as its independence. The expansion of public administration and the discovery of oil and natural gas are also believed to have contributed to the rising cases of corrupt practices in the country. Successive governments have equally come up with efforts to tackle corruption through the enactment of laws and enforcement of integrity processes with minimal success. Little wonder it's been estimated that over $500 billion have been lost to corruption since independence. The Buhari-led government, however, prides itself as the most daring and focused in the war against corruption, a critical component of its campaign promises in 2014. This has given birth to many policies, including the whistle-blowing policy, says to have aided the recovery of millions of dollars stolen from the nation's coffer.
We have records to show that just 55 people allegedly stole 1.353 trillion naira. Now, to make Nigerians understand what that meant, we now said if only 1/3 of that looted fund was returned, what will it give us in terms of infrastructure? It will give us 600 kilometers of double carriage way, expressway, which would mean we'll be able to build 5 Lagos-Ibadan expressway. In addition, we'll be able to build 20,000 housing units, two-bedroom units. It will be enough also to provide an ultra-modern hospital for every state and Abuja, and there will still be enough money left to train 4,000 pupils from, from primary school to university level.
Happily, the president happens to get a peer in the vice president, and he is also committed in fighting corruption. You can never find the two of them involved or compromise their position. We want to be united. If there is one thing that will unite Nigerians, is in fighting corruption, because the unity of this country is being threatened. The survival of this country is being threatened. So we must work hard.
One of the most controversial issues in the polity today is the Executive Order 6, which of course has placed over 50 VIPs on the watch list for being involved in corruption cases. Of course, this has generated so much controversies from many Nigerians, but the government insists this executive order is a way of deepening and fastening its anti-corruption war. But let's get to understand what exactly does this Executive Order 6 means.
The Executive Order 6 itself is an instrument of the executive, pursuant to Section 15, Subsection 5 of the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria 1999 as amended, stating clearly that, and I quote, the states shall abolish all corrupt practices and abuse of power. And the history of this country in fighting corruption is that the moment people know you are on their trade, they go and quickly begin to dissipate the properties of, the acquired process of corruption. They travel to sell. Some have properties in Dubai. Some all over the United States of America. I mean, you have tourists. The Zani. Ekeremadu, for instance. The chain of properties in the United States. So, government has consistently found himself being outsmarted by those who are alleged to have looted the resources of the country to acquire properties in other parts of the country. So, if the federal government places some people on the security watch list, in my opinion, there is no harm in that.
Meanwhile, reactions have continued to trail this executive order of the Buhari-led government, which has put under watch 50 VIPs says to be undergoing corruption cases. Since the pronouncement, stakeholders in the nation's polity have expressed divergent opinions on the legal and political appropriateness of the executive order. Legal practitioners have varying arguments on whether the executive order is in line with the spirit and letters of the Nigerian Constitution.
They, according to them, are fighting corruption. But you do not fight corruption by restricting the movement, the right, fundamental right of movement of people. Even where people travel outside the country, we have international law in place. We have repatriation, we have bilateral and collateral agreements with other nations, wherein or through which these people could be brought to book. You have International Court of Justice, for crying out loud. The intendment of the federal government of Nigeria, particularly the executive arm, could not be justified in any way.
Are these people, have they been accused of one infraction or the other? Then, if it is yes, what is EU 6 supposed to correct? That is another perspective. So when you take this, you discover that what the government has basically done is to put a leash on whatever might be a situation where the reducible or destructible assets of the people that have been accused might have been, which are products of corruption. Are you getting me? And that's what government is trying to protect. That is protecting the rest. Having said that, but a lot of people say, I've listened, I've read a lot of things to the fact that it will affect the fundamental rights of people, quoting Section 6 of the Constitution, or the fundamental rights of this thing. That the law itself has provided that the Attorney General could take these steps. Whoever is not conversant or whoever is not pleased with it could approach the court. So arguing the issue of a breach of fundamental rights outside the court is, to me, not acceptable. To me, I say to me, and I am saying it instructively, if a ban, because the Constitution has said that where the rights of a person is about or likely to be infringed upon, the person has a right to approach the court of law. So let the person approach the court of law. But I want to say emphatically that I do not see any infraction in this. And if there is any, let the court settle it. I equally want to say that even across the world, these laws are there. In the UK, there is what we call the non-explained wealth order, which is tilted towards this same. It is there in Britain. The unexplained wealth order, where if they discover that you have a certain asset that is above your means, it provides you an opportunity to come and explain it. That's having said that. But if we say we want to fight against corruption, for me, we must do everything.
You will see again that the so-called 50 people that is on this list of other 6 that cannot travel abroad, they have not made the list available, which means that the 50 is very elastic. They have just said, I'm not going to publish that list, which means that me and you, if we don't catch their fancy tomorrow, can end up on the said list. The other number 6 is nothing but a tool of harassment.
Just last week, a competent court of law sitting in Abuja ruled that the executive order is constitutional. So it doesn't lie in the mouth of any other person to claim that the same executive order violates the provision of the Constitution. It is only an appellate court in the circumstances that can overrule the judgment of the Federal High Court to that effect. So, in my opinion, and until the contrary is decided by the Superior Court of Record, the executive order is constitutional.
While some political gladiators says the order is to muzzle opposition parties, the ruling APC is convinced that the order is an icing on the cake in the fight against corruption.
It has been a series of intimidation, harassment, and bullying of people who they feel are in opposition to their government. The so-called order 6, executive order number 6, is designed to identify some people in the PDP particularly, hold them down, and make sure they intimidate them from contributing effectively towards the 2019 general elections.
It's using it as a tool to balance equation. It's using it as a tool to put an end to injustice. It's not withholding anybody. It's not politically based issue. It's a balance issue.
Like the proverbial two sides of a coin, it might be difficult to have convergence of opinion on the Executive Order 6.
Go into
what people are saying about Order 6. The first thing I want to realize that the purpose of Order 6, this executive order, is to bring any erring person before the court. If you are found to have, or there's suspicion that you are embezzling money more than necessary, or that you have acquired property more than necessary, what the government is trying to do is to bring you before a court to say whether it is true you have acquired that property legally or illegally. If you have 1 billion in your account, I think the government has the right to say, how did you come about this 1 billion and what have you done? My own take is that it is not an attempt to vision the opposite party. If we are 100 in the Ondo state, and 2 of us, just 2 out of the 100, are having the money that belongs to everybody in the state, are we saying that the 98 of us should be watching him and watching those 2 people spending that money, and other people will be in poverty?
In Nigeria, the ground norm remains the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, 1999 Constitution as amended, so to say. And in Chapter 4 of the 1999 Constitution as amended, provision is made for freedom of movement. Freedom of movement, as provided for under our law, is a fundamental right of all citizens of this nation. I may decide today to go to the United States of America, may decide to go to Japan, no one can stop me, provided that I meet with the conditions provided by the embassy of such nation. Now, the executive order being signed by the Buhari-led administration is an aberration of the law. It is unlawful in the sense that it restricts the movement, the freedom of movement of certain citizens in Nigeria. Who has power to make law? It is the legislative arm of government. The executive, in taking the step or in making this executive order, has usurped the power of the legislature. That is, you are changing the law. Secondly, who has power to interpret the law? It is the judiciary.
These people that have eaten all our yams, taken all our money, and have dipped their hands into this thing, they have killed a lot of people. And I've always said that the amount of people that have been killed through corruption is more than total number of people that have been killed in all the wars and the Boko Haram, accidents and armed robbery, this thing that's taking place in Nigeria. Because you discover that when you are given the right to give him money to do roads and you didn't do roads, every other person that died through the accident, bad roads, is as a result of corruption, of the action the person must have taken. Every other person that died of communicable diseases or preventable diseases is a result of corruption and acts perpetrated by these people. So when you look at it, every step, every person that becomes an area boy in Nigeria because they could not go to school is as a result of the actions of these corrupt people. And because of that, any society that wants to grow, any society, you fight poison, you cure poison by poison. You cure poison by poison. And every issue that deserves to be attended to strictly, stoically, we have to fanatically fight it.
Meanwhile, the presidency has disowned the list in circulation containing the names of 50 high-profile personalities says to be affected by the executive order, saying it's yet to release any names. It, however, appears that the events in the days ahead will justify the appropriateness of Executive Order 6.